good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Good day, wherever you are. This is Moji Taiwo, the host of the Immigrant Experience Show, coming to you from somewhere around the world. I'm also the author of I Give Because I'm Blessed Because I Give, a chronicle of an immigrant's journey. Today, we have with us Lavender Huang. Lavender has already done an interview, a short intro with us before.
18 years ago, when I come here, I don't know my life will look like that. But 18 years later, when I look back, it's a blessing. For the last at least 15 years, actively with my husband, we serve our Chinese communities. There are so many sad stories happens. The suicide and domestic violence, and also the marriage problems, and also physical illness. So I guess I be with them and cry with them and tears with them and laugh with them. Life is different right now, so I guess that's a big achievement for me right now. Turn inside, not outside. So life do have some achievements. Yeah.
So, but today we're going to delve into some of the matters that are very important to her. But before we go into that, do you know that Canada ranks amongst the highest in international measurement of government transparency, civil liberties, quality of life, economic freedom, and education? Yes, Canada is way up there, and we're grateful for that as a Canadian. So, Lavender, you are from China. And you are a former pediatrician who emigrated from China 18 years ago, and a former research assistant at the Cancer Biology Department at the University of Calgary, right? Yeah. You also hold a master's degree in social work, also from the University of Calgary. So my question to you as an immigrant and in continuation of your journey as an immigrant in Canada, how do you transition from being a doctor for children to being a social worker?
Yeah, Moji, thank you so much for inviting me again to come here. So that's very big questions. I think I need to, think more about that. But I never regret about these transitions. As a pediatrician, I saw lots of kids I cannot save their lives in China. But when I immigrated to here, they do have some problem for me, education credentials. I try to go to the University of Cancer Biology and then pursue my pediatrician, but the credit still have some problem for me, so I cannot get through. It's not my ability cannot get through because of the systems. Another thing is I do have my personal reasons. I have 3 boys comes out, and then what's my goal? How can I raise my children? I do have lots of questions to challenge myself. And then also, this question also brings to my husband. How can we co-parent if he don't know how to be a parent? If he don't learn something by himself, have no motivation to do that? I think most of the fathers, they just say, yeah, I am be a father. But do they truly know how to be a father? I don't think so.
Okay, so as a medical doctor from China, it's not that you didn't want to pursue your career here. It's just that trying to break into the field, it's very difficult. Yes. And you made attempts to break through, but it became more difficult after you have your 3 children and you still have to be a mom at home. So all that challenges, and of course, when you are here in a different country with children and husband, and you're trying to foster your career or change a new career, you need the men at home to be fathers, to be able to help. So being a father, having children as a father is different than really being a dad to the kids at home, right?
Totally.
So is that some of the reasons that led you into changing your career?
It is just, I think that's the big challenge for myself to do that. So I guess for the 13 years, I stayed at home. I just gave up my careers. I didn't do anything. Just choose to being a stay-at-home mommy. And then I want to know what's the barrier, what's the points for the education for my boys. I have 3 boys, right? So when I did delve into the education system, I do have they have some barriers for me at least. I grew up in China, so for my education, it's more kind of like the teacher just give you everything. But in here, more freedom for my kids to pursue what they want to learn. And one thing it is, we always focus on the academic part for China, especially for myself. My parents never care about how you're feeling, how the emotions. But when I teach my kids at home, homeschool part-timely, I cannot keep them a whole time at home. I still want them to just adapt into the culture, Western cultures, because they are born in here. Mm-hmm. And then I found some gap for them and between myself. So how can we, through the education, we can adapt to each other? They are growing in Western, I grow in China. We're totally different values. So I need to step into their schools, volunteer at schools, learn from teachers, and learn from them. And they teach me how to be a parent in here. And also, I invite my husband because I found a big gap between me and my husband. I put more time on the parenting from the Chinese parenting than goes to the Western parenting. And no, nothing works if only myself. If my husband knows nothing, he didn't involve that. That's a big trouble for me. And then later I found they need emotional educations. But in our education system, they didn't involve that part. So, and then when I find my faith, wow, the spiritual part, the spiritual educations, nobody.
Well, now I see how you got to social work. Yeah. So you're finding that the gaps in the children's education, the cultural gaps, the educational gaps, the parenting gaps, and the spiritual gaps. Totally. So everything had to come together. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's the reason I try to, 13 years later, I challenge myself. Go to the university, but which major I can apply? First I try the school psychology, but when I go to department, talk to them, they told me, your credit doesn't work here because I don't have psychology credit. They need 30 credits, but I don't have that. Mm-hmm. But the professor from the school psychology, they recommended me, maybe you can try the faculty of social worker. And then there. It's big challenge for me. I do know it's very competitive, but they let me in. I'm so happy about that. And then from the physical, emotional, and spiritual, what's the true holistic education so I can give to my boys first, and then maybe later I can bring to the community.
Well, speaking of the community, I was just going to say is a Chinese social worker. Social work field, it's not something that is valued, if I am so bold to say, in Chinese culture. Totally. So you are definitely bridging a gap. So how do you plan to use your new profession and your knowledge to impact your community?
Yeah, just like you said, social worker in our Chinese community is definitely not a career in our Chinese in China. a social worker just for some retired grandpas, they do something like that. It's not a career, it's not a value in our culture. But in here, when I go to pursue my master social worker, I do find it's so valued here, and also to change my values about the social worker and also my education, my perspective about educations. So the social worker is not just maybe I can put in another way. It's kind of psychology, but more practical, and also they maybe focus from the policy. Macro level goes to the family.
To the delivery.
To the delivery, how can we deliver differently? So if we can change the policy, maybe go to the family. Or
Can you tell our audience and your audience in Mandarin the importance of social work and the emotional aspect of life and combine it with spiritual aspect in raising family or even understanding one old self and our mental health in this part of the world?
You mean just the emotional part and spiritual part is very important, right? Yeah. As a Chinese, I don't know. It's maybe I will offend somebody because in our China we don't know the psychology part. It's just a reasoning part. For the social worker, it's even just the beginning in the baby step yet. When somebody been diagnosed with the mental health part, you will be treated like lunatic. Okay. You are crazy. So even, for example, I have depression. I dare not to tell you much about that because when you know you have depression, you are just like, you are crazy, you are lunatics. I don't want to be a friend anymore, just like that. We still have kind of bias about the mental.
We still the community, the Chinese community still have, and the Chinese community is not alone. Most immigrant communities and most immigrants, they think when you are suffering from depression or any sort of mental health issues, they consider you to be weak.
Yes.
You know, what are you, suffering, you must be weak to have mental health challenges. And I think that's across most immigrant communities, not just the Chinese community alone. And we need to do work, better work, in order to get ourselves help to be well, holy wealth. So what you are doing some kind of work in the community, in your community. Tell us about it.
I do with my husband and also our Chinese community. We try to have the parenting group from the church or in the communities. I invite them and told them, I share the story about how important you're healthy, not just physically healthy. You also need mentally and emotionally healthy, about how to deal in a situation, especially during the COVID-19. And also in the last 13 years, many of our Chinese friends, they are in very difficult situations. Some depression, some even commit suicide, and also they got physically so critical years. Some got cancer, passed away, and just it's so hard. We need some support from our community, especially use our language to understand what's inside ourselves, between our families. So for the last at least 12 years, I and my husband, we are in community, have different parenting groups, teach them, what's the spiritual part. You need to know something, and the emotional part, we need to get well, self-care about ourselves. Also, we can give support to our communities. So
how can your community members, people who want to join in or share or access this resource, how can they reach you?
For this kind of resource, most of the time we through church. Churches welcome everybody.
Which church is that?
Southgate Alliance Church. They welcome every immigrant to come inside. if you want, if you need support. Even, yeah, we even have some North Chinese that may be from different countries, for example, from Africa or from other countries. They can go to church and find us. We can, yeah, support them there financially and emotionally and spiritual support. We just try to build a family there. So,
You also said that you just started, you just got funding for a project, but it's just starting now. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
yeah, we do have a project right now. It's still in the baby steps, but I really want to. One very good project is how to be a wise father. So my husband right now, he is the instructors. For during COVID-19 time, we and our friends, we have online adult education organizations. Then we have big pictures through helping the daddies, because for raising healthy kids, we do need the fathers. We need the fathers back home. The fathers right now is absent, physically absent, emotionally absent, spiritual absent. So that's the reason. Yeah, when I go to the Master of Social Worker, I do write some essays about what's happening between the fathers and children. I do find some research about that. Fathers' anxiety is significantly connected to children's anxieties. If father's absent from the family, the kids later will have some kind of substance abuse,
attachment disorder.
Attachment disorders. What kind of you can imagine what kind of problem.
Is there a website that people can check to access your services?
Yeah, for this service, we didn't put into the website yet, but we do have an educational website. It's from our friends. We together build with them.
Can you tell us what the website is?
Yeah, the website is iwayspeededucation.cn. 爱维教育. Yeah.
Say it in Mandarin.
Yeah, it's in Chinese. Yeah,
Okay.
Mandarin. Yeah,
Okay.
爱维教育. Yeah, you can search through Google. You can find that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Lavender. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I really appreciate everything that you're doing for your community and community at large. This is another example of turning challenges as an immigrant, turning challenges into opportunities. It would have been easier because Lavender is a trained doctor from China, and she came to Canada. Things didn't happen right away, but she managed to find her own niche along the way. Thank you so much. Again, I would like to thank Adonia for my makeup work. Thank you so much for your support. My name is Moji Taiwo, the host of the Immigrant Experience Show and the author of I Give Because I'm Blessed Because I Give, a chronicle of an immigrant's journey. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.